I am Yatish Pachori, Assistant Professor, School of Law and Governance, Jaipur National University. And my topic is human rights. Like, what are the relevance of human rights in aspect of law or in the general field? I am here to talk about human rights as a general as well as its constitutional aspect relating to its international standards plus domestic laws. So, guys, what do you mean by human rights? Basically, human rights are those rights by virtue of human beings are available to the general persons. These rights are those natural rights which are available to the aliens as well, plus to the fundamental to the citizens as well as to any sections of the society. Now, these rights are having historical aspect not only from the after independence, but these rights are having the aspect from our ancient history as well. Now, what are the importance of human rights? If we talk about what is the main objectives to provide the human rights? So it is basically to provide justice to all. All here means whether it is men, whether it is women, whether it is children, whether it is old people, poor person, refugees. It contains or it has ambit of very wider aspect relating to fundamental rights. Like we have fundamental rights as well, but fundamental rights are only available to the citizens only. These are not available to the aliens. These are not available to the persons who is from outside India. But human rights are those natural rights which are available to every person, whether it belongs from low caste, whether it belongs from poor community, whether it belongs from weaker section. It doesn't mean, it is irrelevant here. And why we require this human rights in our society? First of all, we require these human rights in our society to protect the people to get violate their rights by the others. Like if I am having the right to life with personal liberty, then I can enjoy my personal liberty until that extent that it does not harm the liberty of others. Okay, if I am saying this, that if my liberty is to shake hands in air, but that liberty has a limitation that it does not harm to the others, right? So every fundamental rights, every right has their own restrictions in their own manner. Like the other major importance of this human right is to create a balance on the society. Like how we create a balance with these human rights? Human rights create balance like if someone is violating the rights of others. Like if I am saying that if I suppress a particular section of the society, but how those person whose rights are getting violated, they will prevent the others to not violate their own rights. So human rights helps to protect those weaker sections. Human rights helps to provide or to create a balance in the society. And again, it also ensure to met the basic needs of the every people. Every person have their own basic needs, because if we are not providing the basic need like right to food, right to clean environment, right to education, right to shelter, so then how a particular person lives a dignified life? So human rights are those rights which by virtue of human being available to everyone to live a dignified life. Now this dignified life having a major aspect and major ambit that what comes under the dignified life or not. But this will be a part of the Constitution of India, and we'll be dealing in the later on, like what are the dignified life means for a particular common man, and what are the meaning of dignified of a particular people like Ambani, Tata, Birlas. So we are having only the this introduction part in today. So now the major important of this human rights is key point is that it cannot be taken away. Most important, it cannot be taken away in any sense or in any manner by anyone. Like we are having the Constitution of India, okay, we are having the international bills, convention, treaties, and we are having these punishment as well to particular. If someone committed a crime, then we are having the particular punishment, that if someone commits theft, if someone commits murder, so we are having these punishments like 3 years, 10 years, 14 years. But how we are going to provide those punishment to those people? Because in some manner their human rights are violated. Because if we put someone into the behind bars, then automatically we are restraining him to go outside. So these human rights are available to everyone, but we can say this, that we have their own restrictions. Like we have Article 21 under Indian Constitution: no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except procedure established by law. Now here, this procedure established by law has their own reasonable restrictions on the available rights. Like if we say this, that what is the limitation of Article 21, it itself has their own limitation. Like this due process, this procedure established by law, that makes this article in their own limit. Like if I am saying that I can take away his life, but with a particular procedure. Like procedure is what? If someone committed a crime, then that particular crime is being tried by the proper competent court, and then court will decide whatever the judgment is. So these are the procedure which is already mentioned in the Indian Constitution or in the other acts as well. Now coming forward, these rights not only involved or not only provide the basic needs, but these also helps to live a particular person in a very dignified manner. Like we have right to protect the environment, we have right to live in safe, clean and healthy environment. We have a right to get clean drinking water. We have landmark cases on these very issues, these very recent issues, and the apex court will provided these judgment to very in an efficient manner. Like in the case of right to get clean drinking water, everyone has these right to get clean drinking water, but is it available? No, it is not available to everyone. It is not available to for in each and every section of the society. So these rights are created, these are rights are provided in the society to make equal everyone. We have very important major right, like right to equality among all. In India, we are having this separation of the society. Like these people belongs from SC community, these belongs from ST community, these belongs from OBC community, and there are some people who are not who are untouchable. Like if someone touches it, so it treated as that they commit something very wrong. So this Article 14 has a very aspect in this right of untouchability, because until and unless we treat them everyone equal, how can we provide them basic human rights? How can we provide them food to live a particular life? So these are important rights to live in a dignified manner. So although definition of dignified is different for everyone, but these are those basic rights which requires a person to live a life, to live a basic normal life. So these rights are available into the society. In India, we are having the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. In India, we are having this Constitution of India since 1950. So these, although we have these fundamental rights along with them, but these human rights are available, as I told earlier, these human rights are available to those sections which are not having these fundamental rights, these excess of fundamental rights. So, or these human rights are not separated by anyone. These are not taken away by anyone. So these can be the major important rights in the society. Now, the most important and last section of this topic, of this importance of human rights topic, is it keeps on an eye on the acts of the government. If government is violating the human rights of a particular society, or if a government violates the violation of human rights of a particular section, then these human rights are keeping an eye on them, like that you don't violate the human rights, right? So these human rights are the set standards a particular person we have. So now we are moving forward to the next slide, that what is the meaning of human right. As I've told earlier, that meaning of human rights are those rights by virtue of their being human process certain basic and inalienable rights. As you know, what is inalienable? Inalienable is a word which we use to refer for a person who is not a particular citizen of any country. Like if we talk about India, then a US citizen should be an alien for the Indian citizens. So inalienable is a word. So these human rights are used for those people as well. Like if we have right to life, then yes, even your US citizen, even a citizen of Switzerland are having this right in our own country. So these are rights available to everyone by virtue of human being. This right can be given to anyone. Now, this human right definition are also given by the most of the jurists, and in our Protection of Human Right Act under section 2 subclause T, all the fundamental rights which are provided under the Indian Constitution are the human right. So if we say this, okay, what is the definition of human right as per the Indian aspect? So we can say this under section 2D of Protection of Human Right Act 1993. It is clearly mentioned that whatever the fundamental rights are available in the Indian Constitution, those rights are to be treated as equally a human rights. Now, when these rights become operative, this is a very major question, and this is a very important question. When this right becomes operative, like it should be operative after the birth, or it should be operated a particular acquiring a certain age. So the answer of this question is, it is operated since the birth. If any child having a birth, then these rights are activated. Activated here means a particular child are being able to get the benefit of these rights, of these human rights. Now, we have in most of the countries like India, we have these human rights are similar to be as a fundamental right. Like earlier I have said that in the Protection of Human Right Act 2D, we have this definition that whatever the rights are available in the Indian Constitution, all those fundamental rights are to be treated as human rights. So coming forward to the next slide. Now, in this particular slide, we are talking about the historical aspect, like in which year or in which era this concept of human right started, in which era it was prevailed, or in which era it was mostly violated by the others. So first, it was a very old concept. It has been an importance from Cyrus the Great, 555 to 529 before Christ. So it is not a new concept. It is already a previous established concept. In that particular era, there is a slavery system. Peoples are getting slaved of the other person, and those wealthy persons purchase those slaves, and they'll work the whole of their life. Those slaves work their whole of the lives, and they are treated very, very, very in an inappropriate manner. They are not being treated as a human. They are being treated as an animals. So, but although at that particular time, some of the major persons or some of the reputed persons and activists are having this intention to protect them and to provide them a basic human rights. So like India, it's a very good example of, we have this sati system, that we have this sati system, that after the expiry of the husband, a female get burnt at her husband cremation. But because of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, this system was abolished from our country, because this is not a certain thing which is acceptable by anyone. Why a particular lady burnt because of the death of her husband? Why? This is not necessary. This is not an appropriate. Why? Because everyone has their own meaning of life. No one can take away the life of the others if they are not able to give them life. Like if I am saying like that, this man has a life, and this man life should be taken away, but how am I doing that? Because I am not having the proper authority. I am no one in the eye of law, so take away anyone's life. So that is why all the penal provisions mentioned in IPC or mentioned in any act, we have this certain punishment, because we are not having the authority to violate anyone's right. We are not having authority to hurt anyone's rights. So that is why we are bounded by those penal punishments and penal provisions, so that if we commit any crime, we will competent court will impose a punishment on us. So now, after that, 555 BC, we have American Bill of Rights, which is also known as English Bill of Rights 1688, in which there is a concept of this human rights are discussed. Then after, we had American Declaration of Independence 1776, and last French Declaration of Rights of Man 1789. In all these declarations are human rights are being discussed. Now, the major important area or the major declaration we have in the year of 1948, that is Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This Universal Declaration in 1948, the most of the rights in Indian Constitution are being taken away in this declaration, and this declaration is fully worked as a international document to protect the individual's human rights. Now, in our Constitution of India, most of the fundamental rights are being taken from the American Bill of Constitution. So, like we have right to equality, right to speech and expression, right to life with personal liberty, right of constitutional remedies, so right to protect our own religion, culture. So these rights are, most of the rights are taken away from American Constitution, and also from this Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This declaration was majorly accepted by most of the countries in their own, and to protect the human rights of their citizens. Then, coming forward to the next slides, we have discussed what are the meaning of human rights, we have discussed what are the importance of human rights, we have discussed the historical aspect of human rights. Now we are moving forward to the types of human rights, like what are the types of human rights available in our society. Now, there are two types we are going to discuss here. First one is, human rights include civil and political rights. Like there are some rights which are included in the ambit of the civil and political rights. Now, what are civil rights? What are political rights? The right to freedom of expression. Freedom of expression. These comes under the civil and political rights, because until and unless we express how we feel about a particular government or about a particular act, until and unless we express ourselves, how can we determine that whether that particular law, that whether that particular government are doing the act which are fruitful to us? So this is the major basic right provided under the types of human right under civil and political rights. Now, right to freedom of religion and conscience. Now, the right to freedom of religion or conscience, we have this right because there are most of the sections who are getting very weaker in the society because of low population, because of lack of resources they are available. So these particular sections or these particular society are protecting their religion, are protecting their conscience, are protecting their cultures. We can take an example of very latest incident, like when the Citizenship of Amendment Act, this um, passed by the Indian legislature in the year of 2019, there are so much oppression from the people of Assam, because this act particular provided to the citizenship to the those people who are residing over a particular state as a refugee. And the people of Assam, they are taking this act as a we can say the to take away their culture by this particular act. Because if the majority of people are coming to any particular state and they resided over there, and then automatically the culture of Assam, the religious things of Assam people, they automatically becomes a amalgamation of all the people of Assam, as well as those people who coming here to the for a particular purpose. So this rights can be protected by the state. This right can be protected by the government, so that the every person has their right of to enjoy their freedom of their religion. Like if I am a Hindu, if I am a Muslim, if I am a Sikh, if I am a other person belongs from another community, so I can enjoy my religion, I can spread my religion, I can protect my culture, whatever the culture I am being followed by the past years. So I am having this right to protect that. So I can pass over these rights, I can pass over this culture to my upcoming generations. So these rights are coming under the civil and political rights. Now, right to property. Right to property is a very important right. Like if I purchased a property, so government has no power, or if anyone has no power to take away that property, but still government can do so. Still government is doing, like in the cases of construction of any expressway, construction of any highway, government takes away the property of this farmers, poor farmers. But how they can do so if these are the human rights? But in India, the scenario is, earlier it was mentioned in the fundamental right to property, but because government has to abolish these zamindari system, government has to sealing all the land, so government makes this right to property as a constitutional right. So from the it removes this right to property from the fundamental right and makes it to the constitutional right under Article 300A. Now, this article is a very important aspect, because to survive, to live a dignified life, everyone needs a shelter. So we can't take away the shelter of anyone. There is a famous case on this by the apex court, pavement dweller case, which is known as pavement dweller case, in which pavement people resided over the property of BMC to make a pavement. Pavement is a very temporary construction, we can say this, temporary house, we can say this. So people constructed this templated and resided over there, but this will lowers the beautifulness of the city of Mumbai. So BMC decided to remove all those people. So then there is a lot of chaos there, and then people fought before the apex court, and Supreme Court said that it's a state responsibility to provide the shelter to the citizens. Now, there is other rights which are under this civil and political rights, like right to freedom of assembly. This is a very important right, because earlier in the we can say before independence, this right is treated as very anti-national, because if someone is gathering, if someone is assembled to a particular reason or to a particular against any decision of the government, then it will be treated as anti-national. But in current scenario, right to assembly, right to peaceful assembly is a human right, is a fundamental right, that everyone has this right to assemble at any place, until and unless any law restricted or strictly prohibited to a particular assembly at a particular place. So this is also a very important aspect of human right. Now, the most important rights which are coming in today's world or today's time, the right to privacy. The right to privacy is a basic fundamental right, which are also expressed by the Supreme Court in a recent case, Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India, in which they already specified this right to privacy is a fundamental right. How this right to privacy is a fundamental right are being so much important in current scenario, because this is something, this is very important, that if I am using or I am enjoying my privacy, I am in this impression that no one can breach my privacy, no one can violate my privacy, no one can interfere in my privacy. So this is the very important right which are specifically followed in today's or in current scenario. So even by the Supreme Court, I expressed this judgment that Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India, Supreme Court specifically make this right to privacy is a fundamental right or as a human right under the ambit of Article 21, right to life with personal liberty. Now, the most important right to life, right of human rights in civil and political rights is right to vote, because in India we have the democracy. The government is for the people, by the people, to the people. Now, this government, who is going to elect this government? Who is going to choose this government? These are these citizens. We are going to choose this government. For whom? For ourselves. So this is also a very important and major human rights, right to vote, because this right to vote expressed that there is a democracy in a particular country. How can we determine that particular country is democratic? So this right to vote explained that yes, we have the democracy in our country. So this is also a very important civil and political rights. Now, coming to the next types, that is economic and social rights. Like, what are the economic and social rights which are coming under this human rights? Now, this is right to educate food, like these PDS schemes, public distribution schemes. What are those? Those are the concept of, those are the mandatory obligations on the state government or the central government to provide the adequate proper food to their citizens, so that each and everyone have their own dignified life. So at least we have food, at least we have shelter, at least we have clean water and sanitation, so that we can live a particular life. These are very important aspect in a manner of human rights. So government is providing these rights to their citizens. The rights to have a particular work. You all must aware about this in this COVID situation, that which is being strictly followed, or which is strictly being we can say followed by us. So this COVID situation, you know about most what section of the society is more getting the demoralized or more getting harm in this particular COVID situation. These are these labor class, those people who migrated from their native place to the other place to get work. And how they'll migrated? Because they have a right to work in any state of any state of in India. So these rights are coming from this particular human rights, and this right to work is coming from this particular economic and social rights. Now, coming forward to the next slide, evolution of human rights in India. Evolution of human rights in India are being started from our constitution of after framing the Indian constitution, that is from since 1950. So in 1950 constitution, when it was drafted, the drafting committee are very aware about the current situation at that time, that how people suppress the others, how people from one class is suppressed to others. So they inserted this fundamental rights section as a protection care to those people who are being suppressed by the others. So in this particular we have fundamental rights, in this particular we have DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, which are being protected by the state, which are being directives to the state that what you are going to follow after getting the government. So these should be, we can say this, to create a check and balance on the particular society. Now again, we have the check and balance on the action of this government by the judiciary. We have the apex judiciary, we have Supreme Court, we have high courts of different states, we have civil and session courts in every city or districts. So what are those courts? These courts are to provide the protection. So this is the evolution of human rights in India. Now coming to the next slide, we have very important articles like which are being treated as a human right as well, like Article 14, Article 19, Article 21, in which we are protecting or which we are providing the fundamental rights to the, or the human rights to the every person. Now coming forward to the next slide, we have examples, we have latest examples of these violation of human right protection. Like we have the Rohingyas, Muslim refugees examples, like so many of Rohingyas, refugee Muslims coming towards the country of India from the side of Bangladesh, and they are voluntarily coming into our country, but we are not able to provide them shelter. Even we have UN obligations on us that you should provide them shelter, you should provide them a particular adequate place to live to those communities at a particular time period, so that they can avail their basic human rights. So this is the very important and latest examples on which we can say that there is a mass violation of human rights of people. Now, so I am concluding my slide, I am concluding this my human right topic by this last statement, that human rights are those rights which are not being taken away by anyone. If someone takes away, then we have the provisions, we have the commissions, we have the code to deal with that. And if someone violates it, they'll be getting punishment from the court, they'll be getting monetary compensation to the victims. So it's a duty on the state to protect each and everyone's human rights. Thank you.